Have you ever wanted to create a website but you felt intimidated by all of these features and tools? Or maybe you heard about Google Sites but you don't know where to start? This might be the video for you. Welcome to this ultimate Google Sites tutorial for beginners. In this video, I will guide you through the step-by-step process for beginners of how we can actually get started to create a professional looking website using Google Sites. Even if you have zero experience, I will walk you through the entire process so you can confidently create and customize your very own website by the end of this tutorial. Now, many people spend hours searching on how to build a website, but today you're getting all the information you need completely free right here on YouTube. In the description below, you're going to be finding a list of all the steps and sections covered in this tutorial. So without further ado, let's get started with Google Sites and create your website today.
Alright, so now that we are inside Google Sites, if you don't know how to get started inside this section, you can go into the upper side that says Google Sites or open any tab and just type the word Google Sites. So you might see that you have here the sites.google.com sign in section. So in order to continue, you need to have an actual Google or Gmail account in order to have access to Google Sites. Now that we have here the dashboard of the Google site, you can see that we have our recent site design created. And into the upper side, we have some templates that we can choose to get started. And now here, if I clicked into this main menu, you can see that we have the classic site manager. And of course, everything directly into the Google Workspace section of Google. For example, we have docs, sheets, slides, form, settings, feedback, health, and drive. We can implement this stuff directly into Google Sites if you wanted to get used of those elements here into Google Sites. We're going to be more on that later. So to get started, I'm going to focus with the option that says blank site. You can of course choose a template into a template gallery. So just in case you wanted to do something, let's say much more faster and easy, if you find, for example, let's say something about education, there's some for graduating, professor, class, club, restaurant, photo portfolio, and much more. So today, since we are totally beginners, you want to start totally from scratch, I'm going to show you how to use everything into the Google Sites. So that's the reason why I'm going to start with the blank site. If I click now into one template or a blank site, I now have access into the editor of the Google Sites. So let's understand a little bit more about the G Sites. Into the right part, you can see that we have all the elements where we can insert into our preview. So here have text boxes, images, embeams, content from Drive, and content blocks. Content blocks can be helping you to save tons of time if you wanted to add, for example, one product. If this is an online store, you wanted to talk a little bit about, I don't know, this is a blog about yourself. So let me show you what happens when you clicked into one of them. And as you can see here, it's like a preview, an image, a title, and a description. So this can be saving you lots of time, tons of times if you wanted to, let's say, do this process much more faster. Now, if I unselect the content blocks, we have a collapsible group. There's some table of contents. There is a image carousel, a button, dividers, pages, and much more elements. So you're gonna use every single one into this example. Now, if I go into insert, let's click into pages. Into pages, you can manage your menu, your navigation bar of the G Sites. So in this case, we only have the home section. You can add a new page, a menu section, add a full page embeamed if you want to, or add a new link for a specific section. And now into themes. The themes can be helping you to customize what you have directly into your store. So as you can see here, have the created by Google. These are some themes that you can use totally for free, or you can create a new theme and customize it. So to get started, usually what I do is to start with the settings and then move on into the themes. So to get started with the themes or the settings, let's go here first of all into the untitled site. Into untitled site, I wanted to name my store. In this case, for this particular tutorial, I'm going to be creating an online store. So I'm going to be using all of the features. So I can be using all the features into this Google Sites. That's the reason why I'm going to be starting with an online store. We can create a blog, we can create a portfolio and much more. But today I'm going to be using an online store, since this online store can be helping me to use all the tools into G Sites. So first is to name my store, right? If you don't know how to get started with branding, what I can totally recommend you is to try it out with name list. Now this is just a bonus if you wanted to get started with a business name, of course with artificial intelligence naming tool, even you can help you with a logo for a new business. Now here into name list, this is the part where you can create some keywords to generate short brandable business name using artificial intelligence. So for example, here into keywords, let's say that I get started to sell some clothing. I sell some t-shirt, custom t-shirt. I wanted to talk about, I don't know, Halloween, scary, spooky, custom designs, and so much more. So you know that this is an online store, clothing store, Halloween theme, and you can just add much more, right? So I hit now into generate, and I have now my business generated. It's going to be asking me a name style. For example, I wanted to look out for something that is short phrased, alternative spelling, real words, non-English words, brandable names. For example, you can look out for as you wanted to. So let's try it out with some alternate spelling and go for next. Now the randomness, you can look out for less random and most direct name ideas, or a lot of random ideas and more varied results. Let's try it out with low, next, and brand info. I added all my keywords, but here into the business description, you can add a short one-sentence description of your business or product. So for example, this is a clothing store that sells t-shirts. Let's go for Halloween t-shirt, spooky and scary designs. And there we go. Now I go for generate. So once again, this is just a plus if you are getting started with a brandable stuff and you don't know how to name your branding, you don't know anything though. So as you can see, we have spooky, the spooky, Halloween, phantasmatic, Halloween, curiosity, money kid, Halloween, creepy t-shirts, spooky, and much more. So you want to look out for one that best suits for yourself, and once you check it out then we can continue with the next spot. Now in my case, I only wanted to focus into the title. You can don't focus into here the colors and the branding and all of that, but it's going to be really important to have a branding color for the themes of your store. So I'm going to choose one of them. Alright, so I'm going to stick around with this one called Gold. What you can do here is to edit your ideas, but once again, I took it focused into the whole title. We can use Go, for example. Here's a few ideas that we can use. So pick you the chose one. Actually, this one looks great. I think this can work. And then what I need to do is to go directly back into my G sites. Go for Go. Now let's head into the section that says settings. Into settings, what we can do is to navigate here into all the parameters of my Google sites. So here we have navigation, brand images, viewers and tools, custom domains, analytics, and an announcement bar. So to get started, first of all, let's focus into the navigation. Navigation is going to be helping you. How would you like people to check out your navigation bar, as a top or as a side? If you go for a side, you can see that your stuff is going to be changing automatically. And the color, you can do it transparent, white, or black. Now into the brand images, you can add your logo and your favicon. Usually both are exactly the same, but you can just add as you wanted to. So in here, I'm going to once again add a plus for you guys. And I'm going to be using one graphic designer. This one is called Canva. Now here into Canva, we can create a lot of stuff totally for free, and I'm going to be using Magic Media. So Magic Media can be helping me to generate something truly easy, authentic, and really great. It can be helping you to get started. So for example, let's say that I do have the idea that I can create a minimalistic logo of a ghost, for example, and in the styles I can go for select all and look out for concept art. And here go for on black background. What I'm going to be doing into the G side is to use a lot of Canva to help me create designs, to help me create images, branding stuffs, to, let's say, help me elevate my branding into a next level. So I think this one actually works really great for me. So you can select it, and you can see this one looks really great so far. I think this is totally going to be working for me. So once you select one of them, in my case, I think that I'm going to go here for draw. I'm going to select one color. I marquee my colors, for example, new color. I picked this color and I wanted to delete this kind of mouth. There we go. Now this one looks much more attractive. Now let's go back here into my image. I edit my image and I remove the background. There are a few tools that we'll be using. They are only for Canva Pro, so you have the link down below in the description if you want to check that out. You can try it out for the next 30 days totally for free. So now, as you can see, guys, I can use this image for the design, or let's say my logo of my branding here. So usually what we do is to select my image and try to make this a little bit much more bigger. So I'm gonna group it and I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger, like this. Not so big. There we go. Now that I have my logo design, what I can do is to download out my image. What I can really suggest you is to download out your image into a PNG file and try to download out this as a transparent background. Transparent background can be helping you to delete the background, and it's going to be looking really great when it comes to adding as a branding. So I'm going to hit into download, and now I have my logo. So I'm going to go back here into Google Sites. I upload my logo. Remember that we're going to be using a PNG file with no background, and here it is. You can add some alt text. This is accessible for screen readers, for people who might have trouble seeing your content, but this can also help the Google search engine console to understand what your store, your online store, or your website is about. For example, in my case, let's say goal logo of a clothing store, and I go for some words, for example, spooky, Halloween themes, scary, terror. That would be actually it. Now in the favicon, you can of course use exactly the same images, but I can tell user to try to download the image with a less and compressed element, so this can be looking great. Now, as you can see now, automatically here into the left pod, my store is now taking care of it automatically. Now into the viewer tools, I have the info of the icon. The side info icon is the lower left of the published side. It shows the page. You can show the page into the last updated time, or don't show it. And into the anchor links, this one appears when the site viewers hover over headings on the page. It allows viewer to link the specific section on the page. So I'm going to enable both of them. And now I can see here that we can enable some analytics. Now analytics can be helping me to connect my site of the Google Analytics to get some inside metric of the usage and how well my actual website actually looks. So I'm going to open a new tab. Let's go here and I'm going to type Google. Now into Google Analytics, I'm going to go to the upper side, analytics.google.com. Of course, you need to have a Google account in order to proceed with this process. So inside the Google Analytics, what I'm going to be doing here is to get started with my content creation, and go here inside the account. I have my analytics account. I can create an analytic account if I wanted to get started, of course, totally for free. So let's go into all, and I go here for settings, administrator, and here into the administrator, I can create a new account. So into the new account, I have an account name. So let's say that you have named my branding, for example, Go. Enable all of this, go for next, proper details. Let's go for Go Corporation. Currency exactly the same. Here's my business details. You can select an industry. In this case, let's try it out with clothing, branding, whatever, online community key signs, travel, other businesses, shopping. Let's go for shopping. Next. And let's say that here I wanted to see my traffic and some user engagement and retention. I create it, and I accept all the terms of service of Google. And now here I can start collating data from my web. So it's going to be asking me, of course, to add a website URL and choose the stream name. So for that, let's go back into GSites. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go here for the section that says published. You don't have to worry about it because this is only to get a free website domain. I'm going to show you how to add a custom domain, but first let's get started with the analytic of your store. So here I have the web address. Let's say that I only typed the name of my store, which is Google. As you can see, this is a great address, but it's already taken. So let's go for Google Corp. So this one now is actually working. Now let's try it out with something different. For example, Google Store. And actually it is available. So I go for published. My site has now been published. So I hit now into view, and now I can copy this site and paste it into your website URL. So I delete the HTTPS, and the stream name should be Google Sites. Now I go for create and continue. And now, just as simple as that, I have now the Google Sites here added. You can here now check out the streamline in collecting some more data. So you can install this manually or use some Google Tag Manager. So usually I'm going to hit now into get started, and here is my tag instructions. So here's a measurement ID that I just needed to copy. Go back into my settings of the Google Sites, and here into analytics, just paste your measurement ID. And my analytics has now been enabled. So congratulations, because now we have done this process. If you wanted to add a custom domain, you may want to have to edit your stream URL, but you don't have to worry because the measurement ID it's exactly the same. So let's say that we wanted to create and add a stream URL. So we can go here into custom domains. Let's start by adding our custom domain because we don't want to use sites.google.com view Google Store into the future. So for that, let's go for start the setup. And then it's going to be asking you to enter a domain. To purchase a domain, we can totally recommend you to try it out with Namecheap. Namecheap is a place that can be helping you to get started and adding and purchasing, of course, stuff not for free, but still the prices that appears here into the Namecheap are really cheap. So here into Namecheap, what I just need to do is to go directly into my domains, look out for a domain that I would like to try it out. For example, go and look out for one that you liked the most. For example, let's say Google XYZ, and go for purchase. After you make the purchase, then what we can do is to go directly here and enter the domain in order to get started with the DNS records. It's going to be telling you that your domain is not verified. So we need to verify our ownership in order to use this into Google Sites. So you're going to click into verify your ownership, and this one is going to be taking us directly into the Google Search Console. So I'm going to go for domain, and here's my domain. Let's go for continue, and it says checking verification. So we needed to add this txt file in order to make sure that we have the verification of it. So let's copy this element and go into the domain that you can purchase it. If you use Namecheap, you can of course focus into your domain list, select your domain, go for advanced DNS, and add a new record. So I'm going to hit into add txt record. The host, I'm going to leave this with add, and here's the value. So I'm going to go for OK and the check mark. Usually every single place where you purchase a domain has an advanced DNS. So make sure that this process is exactly the same as we did here. So add a new record, txt file, host add, and paste the value that appears here into your G site. So hit now into verify. And usually this process has now been taking just 1 minute. Now if this one is not appearing and the ownership verification failed, you don't have to worry about it. You can of course try to make the verification a few minutes later and try it out again in a few minutes. And meanwhile this process has been done, then we can go back And we can do this later on and focus now into the announcement bar. The announcement bar is going to be telling you, showing you a banner, for example, shop with us or welcome aboard, right? So we can add announcement message, the button label, or even a link, or we can open it at the top, and the best ability could be added into the home page only and much more. So I'm going to not focus in that here. I'm going to close it. And of course, hit into saved. Every time you finished, all the changes should be saved automatically. Now that we are set it up with all the settings, let's start with the theme. Now into the right part, let's click into themes. I'm gonna go for create a theme, and here's the name of one theme. I'm gonna go for Google, and we can add a custom logo. So I'm gonna do exactly the same thing as we did before into the settings. I'm gonna add a logo, and now it asks us for a banner image. Now a banner image shows a background for the header section. So I'm gonna skip this part because we're gonna be adding this later. Now here are some preset colors that we can use for our store, or in this case an online store. I'm gonna go for custom colors, and here we can add some custom colors that we would like to get started with. So this is the part where you want to add up to 3 colors that identifies your store. So in my case, I'm gonna go for something like this. Go for something here, and I click here to continue, and I select this color, right? So go for save. This is my color number 1. Now my color number 2 should be white and black. So I'm gonna just go here for fast and try to change this color a little bit like this. Now it does look really interesting, right? So with that information, then what I can do is to now focus into next, and here I can select titles and headings font. So we can try it out with something like this, and the body text, let's say I go for career new and go and create my theme. Automatically all this information should be imported into our new section, and you can see it now appears here. Now I can edit the fonts here, and I can edit the colors. In my case, I want to do this because we already have a theme color, change it. So let's focus now into my colors. There's 3 different color styles that we can use into our different sections. In my case, I have the style number 1, which is black and font colors. The second one, which is this style, and the third one that appears here. So I'm gonna try to look out for style number 2. I'm gonna try to change the background. So this background can be helping me to understand a little bit more about my background here, titles and heading. It does look great, and the body text doesn't look that bad. Even what I can do to try to change the text color styles. Now you can check out more options if you wanted to, but in my case, actually this one looks great. Now the text, I can select the normal text, how it's going to be looking, the title, the heading, subheading, and the small text. So all of this stuff should be edited here inside the section of the theme. When you create something into this page, automatically all the default settings is going to be imported, and you don't have to focus a lot into the addition of your store. That's the reason why we're doing this from scratch. Now into my images, as you can see, here's my logo. I can add my favicon, and here is the header. Of course, I'm going to just leave this as it is for now. The component, here are my 3 different styles, and the spacing doesn't look that bad. So I think this one has now been saved, so we can now go back and we can start to adding element here into our store. So for example, here I have my pages. Here into pages, here's my home section. Let's get started in adding a new section, a new page. Now here, let's go for shop and go for done. As you can see now, we have this section, it says home shop. Now here, I'm going to add a new page, and let's go for us. Home shop us. Does look great. Now, if you want to, we can talk about blocks. There we go. If you want to move something below or above, just select it and just drag and drop. And let's say, for example, that I wanted to add a new page, a sub page. If I wanted to add, let's say, for example, shop for men and women. So men, I'm going to go with below shop, and I'm going to add a new one, which is women, men and women, but I wanted to see this inside a shop, right? So if I select this, I can move this inside shop, and you can see that automatically it's going to be adding a collapsible menu and do exactly the same thing. So instead here have shop, now I have men and women. So it does look really great, right? So now with this menu bar, what you can do is to go back here into the settings and check out how it actually looks your menu. Even though you're using the top section navigation bar, that will be actually it, but in my case this one looks great so far. I think that I'm going to be changing this banner into the viewer tools, scrolling a little bit down into the navigation, and instead of trying it out with a transparent background, I'm going to try it out with something different. For example, here into my settings, and now let's go here into my header. Now into my header type, we can see I'm going to go here for the home page. Here into my header type, we can change it from a banner, large banner, or even a cover. Since this is an online store, I can totally recommend you to try it out with something really easy. For example, just a title. We can change it for about it if you wanted to, or whatever. Usually we can go for imaged and upload your own imaged. I'm gonna use one product to use it as a banner, but since we haven't created a product yet, I'm gonna start with something easy. For example, Google Images. Now let's go for Halloween clothes, or right, and there we go. Now as you can see, there's a lot of elements that I can use. In my case, I think that I wanted to look over something like this, insert, and now my image should be adjusted for it. So if I click into the anchor of the image, I can move it and change it to upper, downy, and leave it as it is. We can center it if you wanted it, but in my case, actually this one looks great. Now if I want to remove the readable adjustments, I can unselect it and check out how it actually looks. So you can add your title here of your store, or you can delete it. In my case, I don't want to use a banner, so I just want to use my actual title. In this case, let's go for Go Store, or just go for Go. And here's my title, right? So then later, I'm gonna try to delete this because I don't want to see my site name yet. And now this is the part where I wanted to get started in, let's say, adding elements about my store. So I'm gonna go here into us, for example. And here into us, I'm gonna scroll a little bit down and add a little bit about me. Let's go for a content block. So let's go and get started with this content block. On this side, I can start by selecting images, click to edit text, and as you're clicking into something, you can see that we have the different tools that we can use to get started. For example, let's say who are we, and go for click to edit the theme, and here into what about us, on what do we sell, right? So I have now two elements here into us. There we go. Now in this section of the click to edit, let's use another tool that is going to be really and extremely important when you create content. This one is the ChatGPT. ChatGPT will be helping you to generate message, write stuff, pick outline, create images, and much more stuff. Now here into ChatGPT, what you can do is to generate images, generate a lot of stuff totally for free. So let's say, for example, that here, just talk a little bit, make a background of ChatGPT. For example, let's say I have a clothing store that sells t-shirts, Halloween, and the artificial intelligence is going to be working. For example, here's the about us. Welcome to, we are Halloween is celebrated all the year round. We're passionate about things spooky. Let's go for add to roast. Who are we? And what do we sell, or why us, for example, right? So here are my two arrows. So I have the about us section, and here I have the what do we sell. So inside the who are we, I'm gonna copy all of this info and I'm gonna paste it directly into the G side. So who are we, I'm gonna paste it here, go here into ChatGPT, what do we sell, copy this and paste it right here. I think that I missed a little bit of text here, so I can add a text box, and into this text box I'm going to do exactly the same thing as go for copying this and paste it. So As you can see, all the addition of my text has been added automatically. That's the reason why we have added everything directly here into the themed section. That's the reason why we took our time to check out all the presets, all the settings, so we can focus only into just adding all the information about your store, and all the design, all of that should be added automatically. So in my case, I'm going to try to center all of this info. And there we go. It actually looks really great. Now it says your store name. I'm going to change this for goal. And add. I'm going to change this for goal once again. Now, I think that we are now ready to add more stuff into the insert part. Now into the insert part, we have a collapsible group. If I add one collapsible group, we can use this info and paste it here. For example, let's say that I copy this section and I paste it here, right? And this is my collapsible group. So who are we? This is how it actually looks, the collapsible group. If you want to, you can select this element and make it collapsible. For example, here, I select all of this section like this, and I make this into the upper side collapsible. Or what you can do is just to delete this element that you don't want to see. I delete this section and I choose this section and I move this to just below where it was our new section. So as you can see now, it doesn't look that bad. So even though you think that this one doesn't look really great, what I can do is to just go here to the upper side, go for changed. I think this one actually works for me. Now down here, let's go for an image carousel. Into the image carousel, it's going to be asking us to insert some images. So I'm going to add this later. We can add a button, for example, here, and let's go for shop. This one should be linked into the shop section of my page. Here is my custom section. Here, as you can see, it doesn't look that bad, and I can make this smaller, a little bit smaller. If you want to, you can just move this a little bit down, so we can customize this button and make this shorter, only this one shorter. So it says shop. So as you can see now, it does look really great, but if you move this just below or above, the size could be defaulted and added by default, right? So let's go for outlined it or focused only inside here. I'm gonna select this and go for text. Now let's go for filled. Now I do have now the very first part, which is the about us. I'm gonna add images later on. Let's focus now into blocks. And now this is the part, for example, that we can add more stuff. For example, even your social links, YouTube, and a placeholder. The placeholder is a place where you can just add your images, drive a YouTube video, calendar, and some maps. So for example, what I can do is to add in a specific form or in a specific block. Let's go for paste. And here into blocks, let's say I go for best customs for 2024, or let's say let's go for best customs for 2024. And this one should be inside the block section. So best customs for the 2024. And here you're going to go once again for the image. Let's go for select. And into the select section, let's go for Halloween. Only Halloween. Let's see what we got into the Google Images. So as you can see, I'm going to scroll a little bit down. We have tons of stuff that we can use. Let's say that I go for this one and I go for insert. So I have the best customs for the 2024. Here's the header typed, and I can make this for larger or even a cover image, or just go for larger. Now here I'm going to try to encode the image, leave it as it is, and adjust the readable size. Here I'm going to delete the title, and down here I'm going to add a new title, for example the insert, and talk a little bit more about the text box. So let's go for the best customs to wear in the 2024. Now, as you might notice, the ChatGPT can be helping us to get started with this task. For example, help me create a blog about which are the 5 best suits to wear on Halloween in 2024. and it's going to be generating me an actual block where I can use to just implement it directly into our store. So ChatGPT is not perfect. So since ChatGPT can help me to generate some text, that doesn't mean that you can just copy and paste this information. You have to make sure that this one actually looks great when it comes to checking out how it actually works. On the title, nothing says Halloween like Pacific Vampire 2024, a deep virgin or midnight. Why is it great? The Ghostly Gentleman, the Haunted Ringmaster, the Steampunk Soccer. So I think this one is great for a really small block, but if you want to try out something else, you can just tell ChatGPT what you're aiming for. For example, let's say I meant costumes for teenage adults and ease. Now I'm going to give him some style and I'm going to put it into the center. So the best costumes to wear in 2024. Now, for this particular section of my blogs, I'm going to be using another part of my theme, another style. So you focus here into the left part, we do have this section that says duplicate the section, delete your section, or to change the section color. So if I select the style number 2, you can see that the costumes to wear in 2024 now has now been changed. If you wanted to change the whole color style, we can go here into themes. I select my theme, I go for edit, and this is style number 2 can now change for the background. For example, I can try it out with something like this, or I can try it out with something blue up or whatever. In this case, I think that it doesn't look that bad, and I'm gonna stick around with this style of this background and go for customize and go for changed. Now here into change, I'm gonna try it out with something less attractive. For example, this. I selected it and go for save. I think that I'm gonna stick around with this style number 3 per se. So here I'm gonna go for section colors and go for 3. So check out how it actually looks. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing with this section here. So the best combos to wear in 2024, Halloween is time for 30, fun, and of course dressing up. So this is how the part when I wanted to add my dressing stuff. So first of all, the classed witch or warlocks. So I can copy this information and paste it here. I'm gonna go for insert, and I'm gonna go, let's say for example, one image. I go for select. Here's my image. I'm gonna add a text box. I'm gonna move this into the upper side like this, and I'm gonna paste my title, which is the classic witch or warlock. So here, name this as a title. Then I'm going to try to move this into the center, for example. I'm going to add another text box and put it below my title. And you can see the best costumes to wear in 2024, the classic warlock, and I can do exactly the same thing to, let's say, save a little bit of time. What I can do now is, for example, that I can select these 3 elements and I can choose the option that says duplicate section. So what I can do now is to add a new section, for example here, the zombie. So I select my title, I select all this information and I change it, for example here, the zombie, perfect for, let's go back here, perfect for teenage and adults. So as you are editing your stuff, as you are adding elements, you might be seeing that it's going to be much more faster to work here into Google Sites. So I'm going to replace the image, I go for select, I go for Google image, and I go for zombie custom, right? I'm going to try it out with some link. Let's go for copy image address, and I paste it here, my image, and I go for insert my image. So check out that we have now 2 elements of my whole section. Even what I can do is to change the style number 1, style number 2, and everything looks just accordingly though. Now that you have here your header, now that you have your menu banner, now that you have your whole page, let's add a footer. So to add a footer, just scroll all your way down, look out for add footer, and here what you can do is to add information about your footer. For example, let's say contact us. And I don't know, maybe let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And email at gmail.com, right? And I make this shorten. So I make this shorten because I wanted to add my logo. So I go for upload, I go for open, and I'm gonna put this into my footer, but I'm gonna make this smaller, a little bit smaller, like this. And then what I need to do is to put this into the center, for example. Check out how it actually looks. And there we go. So this one actually works as the footer, right? So I can change the elements of my footer. I can move this into the upper side, thumbs up, and much more. Usually I'm just gonna leave this. There we go. Does look really great. And you can change the section colors with the styles that you're looking for. For example, in my case, I'm gonna just stick around with this one. And I can add much more stuff, for example, some PayPal stuff, Visa, MasterCard, Embeamed element. So for that, let's say that I get started with Embeamed. Now, the Embeamed from the web, let's say that I open a tab, payment methods, Embeamed. Even you can take the actual ChatGPT that can help you to add this information into your website. So for example, here I have an HTML file. I just asked for it. I copy this code. I go back into G-Site and into Embeamed, go for Embeamed code, and I paste this code. And this is like a preview of how it's going to be looking your Embeamed code. So we accept Visa, MasterCard, Google Pay, Apple Pay, so go for insert. And just try to make this shorter, like this. I'm going to make this a little bit more shorter. And put it here into my footer, so it does look great. So this is totally optional if you want to add it. If you don't, you can delete it and do much more stuff later. Now that I have now my footer, let's add our very first product, shall we? Let's go into shop and let's go for menu. Here in the menu, you can see that we automatically have the same footer that we're using into the whole website, even into the home section. So into the home, let's say for example to go for shop, let's go for menu, and here I'm gonna just delete the header type. Let's go for title only. It says menu. Now for this particular tutorial, to make this much more faster, I'm gonna be using some print on demand products, and for that I'm gonna be using Printify. Printify is a place where I can just get started and adding my first catalog of products without having to buy absolutely anything. So here you can just choose what kind of product would you like to design. So then later on we can use that information to sell it. So select your product, scroll a little bit down, and you can see you have all the colors and start the design. Now you need an authentic and real design in order to continue. So for this particular tutorial, what I'm going to be doing here is to use one color that I currently have created here into Canva. And this one actually is this one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 designs that I can use. So for that, let's go for shop, download. And here into download, I must use a really oversized with a transparent background. So I choose to add all the pages, and there we go. So I saved my download settings and I go for download. These 4 images should be used to create some t-shirts to sell into my store. So what I just need to do is just to go back here, import my product, and go for continue. Now that you have created your product, you can download your mockups so we can publish it directly into Google Sites. Now, since Google Sites does not allow us or does not have any tool to help us to add it, we have to do it manually. So to add this manually, I'm going to be using the actual Stripe. Now, Stripe is, let's say, for example, like some alternative for the PayPal, just in case you don't have PayPal. But this one actually is really amazing because we can just start by adding some payment links. Payment links can be helping you, of course, to add your products and then paste them into your stores that don't allow you to do some online marketing research. So if I go here into my actual stuff, I go for create a payment link and I can create a new product. So into the name of my product, what I just need to do is to just select the product that I would like to publish into my store, which in this case here it is. So as you can see, I have the title of my product, and I wanted to just use this information to paste it them. So I'm gonna go back here. Let's say that I delete this spot, and I'm gonna add the image for my product, which in this case is this one. So now statement description, let's say how overrides, let's go for t-shirt, goal, t-shirt, or T. Unit label, let's go for goal, and marketing feature aligned, recurrent, and here's the amount required. I'm going to change this from USD dollars, and here this product cost me, let's go here inside the pricing, cost me let's say 1568. So here, back here. So usually this can be suiting for people who want to make just one-time purchase. If you wanted to add a small, medium, large, different sizes, I can totally suggest you to use another tools and not use the actual Stripe. But this one actually is going to be working so far. So I'm going to go here inside create your link, and now I have generated my link automatically. So I can use this in Beam code. So I go for buy button. This buy button is how it should be looking into my store. So this is like a preview that it actually looks into a card where it says buy, or just to choose the option that says buy button. Now what I can truly recommend you is to try to, let's go here into exit, just copy the link, go back here, and here I can use some content blocks of my product. So for example, let's go and add this, and here I can upload the image of my product. Let's say for example this one, and I do exactly the same thing. I add the title, I add the description, and absolutely everything. Then I can add a button, and here let's go for buy now, and my link is this Stripe link, and I go for buy now. So I can move this and put it just below, and there we go. So what is left for me to do is just to add the title, which in this case here is. Let's go back here. Here's the title, and I'm going to add the description. So I copy it and I paste it here. There you go. So if you wanted to add much more images, for example, here's an image carousel. So I can upload all my image carousel, and I can just redirect. If I wanted to change something, for example, this one into the upper side, I can delete this one. I can move this into the end of it, and I go for insert. Now I can replace this image for this one. So I select this one, I delete it, and now I have this new section of my product. So I'm going to hit now into published, and there we go. My store is now been successfully created. So go for published, and publishing is it. Go for view, and your store should be now created. So we have now our banner. Here is our header. Here is our products if you wanted to sell something. And let's see if the button actually works. So I click into buy now, and this will redirect me into Stripe. So this one actually took me into the product that we have just choose. For example, here it is, pay with card information, card holder, the country, and go for pay. So it actually works. Let's go back directly into Google Sites, and let's go into the home dashboard. So into the home, you should see that we can now add a header type, as I just wanted to do and add it until the last, because I now have a image of my products. So if I go for upload one image, I can now select one image, and there we go. So as you can see now, my store looks so much more interested. So I just enable this, I go for published, and I go for published once again. So there we go. So what I just need to do is to just customize my stuff as I was just getting started. Once again, you can just use some content dashboard, content blocks, feature content, and much more elements. So take your time to now use all these elements that we have just added before. Even for example, let's say that I can add maps. You add in a specific section of your maps. For example, let's say that I wanted to add a location where we're currently at. So let's go and drop a place mark here. For example, I don't know, maybe here into Mexico City. and I go for select, and the map should be added automatically, and I can just fill this into the whole page, right? Like this. I can add a YouTube video if I wanted to. Let's say top customs Halloween in the 2024. Just, I don't know, select one video like this, insert, and I add it into the center, for example. And as you can see, my video of YouTube should be added automatically. But even though like the best solution for those stuff is just to add it into blogging section or whatever. So take your time once again to use all of these files and add it directly into GSites. You don't need to use everything directly inside Google Sites. Just use the essential and use the stuff that you think that are more likely people to overcome. I believe that we just finally can add something for social media links. So you click here into social links, you can just click into select, and here into Google Images, let's say that I go for TikTok PNG or TikTok logo like this, and here is my TikTok different logos. Even what I can do is just to type TikTok. So I select this, I go for insert, let's go for www.tiktok.com. I'm not gonna add one link, I just wanted to figure out if this links actually works. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and that will be actually it. And the same thing here, I go for select, I go here for Google Images, Instagram, select it, and do exactly the same thing with the YouTube logo. You can add, of course, your own logos if you wanted to for this social media links, but that's totally up to you. So I think I'm gonna go back up here into Google Images once again. Let's try it out with an actual link actually for this time. TikTok logo. I go here for images. Here is one logo that I can use. So let's try it out with this one. Go here for copy image address, and I paste the URL of it. I insert it, and I go for insert. Check out how it actually appears, our stuff. So I can move this down here. So you can select this, and you can tell this if you want to see it into circle, into squares. In my case, I think the circle works really great. We can add some outlines, block outlines, and I think this one works really great. So you can just move this like this or like this. So totally up to you if you wanted to use this information for it. So these are just tools that I use, that we are currently using for our website. So it's totally up to you if you wanted to use them or if you do not want to use them. So at the end of all of this, let's go here into published, and now I think we are now ready to get started and make sure that our custom domain has now been published. So we had something here, and now this is what we have so far. So I'm gonna go for published, publishing, and there we go. So the ownership verification failed, so let's try it out once again. If the owner verification failed, sometimes you needed to wait a little bit more, or even you needed to make sure that you have added the exact parameters here. In this case, the ownership verified is now working. So if I hit now into done, I can go into the Google Search Console, and here is my domain property. So what I can do now is to go back into my GSites, go into settings, go for custom domains, and I start my setup. Into the starting of the setup, I'm going to do exactly the same process. Choose the name chip that I'm currently having. I paste it. I delete this part, and I go for next. Now, once again, it's going to be asking me to add a third-party domain register. For that part, what I need to do is to add this information as a CNAME file. So let's go back here into Namecheap. Let's go into Advanced DNS. Let's go into Add New Record. And here into Add New Record, I'm going to add CNAME record. Into CNAME record, it's going to be asking me to add www and this information, including the period at the end. So let's go here. I paste my target, and my hosting should be www. And the automatic, let's go for save my changes. After that, let's get into done. and the domain should be assigned automatically. So my custom domain has now been assigned into your new browser, so you might want to check that the URL is working correctly. So in my case, my connection to the site is not secure. That means that we need to check that out directly into the domain list. If I go directly into my domain, I want to make sure that everything looks correctly. So as you can see here, I have the Go GFF. I'm gonna unselect this section and I'm gonna go for domain privacy protection as on. That means that it actually looks really great. Hit now into managed, and if you encounter any error, that means that we needed to solve this issue. But in this case, actually, it looks really great. So I think that is going to be now working correctly. So just take your time to make sure to fill as much information as you possibly can, and of course maybe till 1 or 2 business days this connection domain should now be connected automatically. But that, guys, is how we can actually get started with the goal section. You now know that we are using the G Analytics. I can of course go back into my analytics. Let's go into your account, and here make sure that everything looks great. So go for analytics, and inside analytics you can see that now we do have access directly inside our new website, and we can see all the streamline, all the users, the event count, new users, key events. What can we do to better solve our store, and of course to help us to even add advertisement and much more. So I'm gonna just close this one, and there we go. So even though what I can do now is to make sure that now that I have access to the Google Search Console, I can of course check out the overview, the performance of my website, some URL inspector to see how it actually looks, if everything looks correctly, if there's some site maps to remove, if there's any pages, some page experience, the core web vitals, and much more stuff. So even you have the notification that, for example, here improve the Google presence for Google. For example, here get started with the Google Search Console, manage some property users, and so much more. So you might want to take that in mind when it comes to organizing your store. So guys, I'm gonna just close these elements because we don't need this anymore, and we're actually good to go. Now hit now into published, and there we go. We can review changes in published, view on published side. And well, if you want to make some changes but you want to stick around with the same version, we can of course use to make a copy and choose the version history just in case that you wanted to see different versions where you currently edited, I don't know, maybe one page, one title. Everything of course should be when you saved those versions, and you can restore the side of the version if you want to, just in case that you think that things weren't working out correctly. So that is actually it. Let's go back, and let's go back to my G sites. And now, since we do have now our store, you can see that your store now appears in here, and every time you want to delete, edit, comment, or adding more elements, you can just go here, select it, and you are ready to go. Well guys, this is how we can actually get started with the Google Sites. You now know how to get started with your store. You now know how to get started with the menu bar, navigation bar, adding your elements, adding pages, customizing your themes, adding a custom domains, check out the analytics, the tools of your store, creating a brand image for a logo, favicons, and even checking out the navigation bar. So there are a lot of tutorials where we actually cover a lot of these tools. You can check it out into our channel if you're interested in checking out more about e-commerce, more about website creations, and much more. And lastly, before we just finish the video, I can tell you that you can share your store to anyone who has access to your store. So if you are creating a document with Google Docs, with Google Sheets, with Drive, Forms, the Docs, you can of course share documents to your collaborators. The actual Google Sites, it's not an exemption. So that means that I can go inside the section that says share with others, and I can share this with a grouped calendar, events, and more. Even I can add people with access, general access, so we can make people manage your store. So for example, from a draft, anyone with the link, and anyone with the link can become an editor. So published site, everybody can check out our website. So for that, I'm going to copy my privileged site link, and anyone who has access to that site link can now have access directly into the Google Store. So now we have covered all toast. What I just tell you, what I can totally tell you before you moved on, is that you can check out your store and into the large screen as a tablet, and make sure that it actually looks great into a phone when you want it to go live, or before you can just go live. So guys, with that information, this is how we actually ended this video. Hopefully this was very useful for you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more great tools, how you can get started with the Google Sites and much more tools. Remember, they have a link down below in the description if you want to try out the Canva totally for free for the next 30 days. You can try it out Namecheap. You can try it out the application of the name list, and much tools that we use to customize this store totally for free. We don't have to pay absolutely for anything. So once again, thank you once again for watching the video, guys, and well, hopefully we can all see you next time. See you soon.